It's impossible to discuss anti-aging without speculating about one obvious possibility: complete regenerative healing. And a recent scientific study has broken new ground on that very subject, allowing mammals to completely regenerate complex tissues without any scarring. And how did researchers do it? By altering one single gene. So what's the catch? Well, for humans, there are a ton, actually. But even if you can't regrow a new hand tomorrow, the study still provides another not-so-obvious takeaway that could rewrite the rules of aging. And that's what we're talking about right now. Welcome to Longevity Science News. I'm Emmett Short, and this episode is about an animal that, by the grace of science, was given super healing abilities just by flipping a switch in its DNA. It's no secret that some lizards, amphibians, and crustaceans can regenerate lost limbs. So can certain mollusks, sponges, and various fish. Deer antlers regrow every year. It's actually one of the fastest growing tissues in the animal kingdom. And what can humans regenerate? Very little. Some skin, but not always perfectly. If we agree to go gentle on the booze, we can regrow some liver tissue, but even that isn't an exact match. And we regrow hair, which only gets more and more expensive to cut. But logically, humans should be able to regenerate our tissues and organs, right? Neil deGrasse Tyson thinks so.
Regenerating limbs exists in the genome of other animals, and we're all related. Genetically. Take a snip of that, nip tuck it in us, bada bing.
Easy. Find the DNA in the animals that regenerate, take a snip, and insert it into us. Should only take a few minutes. But wait, if we're all part of the same genome, Neil deGrasse Tyson, then shouldn't we already have the DNA inside of us? Shouldn't every species already have it? We shouldn't need to take a snip from one of these species and nip tuck it into another species. We should just see if we could turn the gene on. And that is what one team of scientists was hoping to do. Find out which genes were responsible for regeneration and try and activate them. By the way, limb regeneration science is amazing, but true longevity starts with optimizing your body that you already have now. Precise data is key, and that's why today's sponsor, the HUME Body Pod, is incredible. My experience with HUME Body Pod has been really eye-opening. I love seeing my metabolic age be younger than my actual age, but how would it even know unless it's using bioelectrical impedance analysis with 8 sensors, foot plates, and retractable handle for segmental scans. In 30 seconds, it measures 45 plus metrics at 98% DEXA accuracy. I used to have to walk down to the mall once a week to get my DEXA scan. Now it's in my bathroom. Body fat, muscle mass, visceral fat, bone density, hydration, BMR, BMI, protein, heart variability, and more. Big takeaway, I should have been working out the rest of my body, even with a shoulder injury. It syncs via Bluetooth to the HUME Health app, integrating with Apple Health, Fitbit, or Garmin. And a premium subscription adds AI coaching and a nutrition plan. Wish I knew that before I got a very expensive online coach. You can get a massive discount on this by using my link down below and the code longevity, which actually stacks with HUME's current sale for up to 50% off. That deal is only valid for 7 days, so act fast. And if you're in the US, it's also HSA, FSA eligible, so you might actually get it covered for free by your health insurance. And now back to the episode. Here's what they did. Researchers with National Institute of Biological Sciences, Beijing, set up testing with 2 groups. One group of mammals with regenerative capabilities and one without. The first group included rabbits and spiny mice that can heal wounds and regenerate complex tissues like cartilage and hair follicles without scarring. And the second group were just regular lab mice and rats. Researchers made small holes in the outer ear of all the test subjects and watched the healing process unfold. In species that can regenerate, the formation of a blastema is the normal immune response to a wound. It's a mass of cells from the surrounding tissues that de-differentiate, meaning the cells return to a flexible, almost stem cell-like state. And then they grow and divide into whatever specialized cells are needed, forming into whatever tissue needs to be replaced. But for non-regenerative species, the wound healing reaction is fibrosis. That's where the body lays down a lot of collagen to seal the wound. It's not as flexible or functional as the mix of cellular structures that used to be there. It's just a dense patch of rope-like protein, and it leaves the healed wound as a scar. It's like nature's duct tape. Now, here's a strange part. Researchers noticed that in both of their test groups, the initial wound healing steps looked similar, showing the formation of a blastema. Both groups naturally tried to regenerate, but it turns out in non-regenerative species, that repair-oriented effort loses steam pretty quick. The body stops trying to regenerate and resorts to fibrosis. The edges of the ear hole heal, but the hole is going to remain. Now, in the regenerative group, healing continued though and completed regeneration, including the formation of complex cartilage. From there, researchers used single-cell RNA sequencing and spatial transcriptomics to compare the wound-induced fibroblasts, the WIFs, those are the cells that appear only after injury, between the species. And it took a while. Here's a quote from Interesting Engineering. The 3-year experimental journey was filled with both anxiety and surprise. Initially, numerous genes were tested individually with no success, with some even worsening the damage. Surprisingly, after many trials and errors, the solution emerged as a single gene that encodes an enzyme for retinoic acid synthesis. The researchers actually found 9 regeneration-associated genes differentially expressed, but one gene in particular stood out. In the regeneration group, after injury, ALDH1A2 was highly activated, but in the non-regenerating mice and rats, the gene hardly showed any activity. Was it an inactive gene? Was it non-functional? What is it supposed to be doing? ALDH1A2 is an enzyme that makes retinoic acid from vitamin A-related molecules. And retinoic acid is a powerful signaling molecule that tells cells how to grow, specialize, and organize, which makes it critically important for tissue regeneration. Without it, cells have no blueprint to structure themselves. They don't know what kind of cells they need to differentiate into: bone, muscle, tendon, and they have no idea which direction to build towards. Which way is the shoulder and which way is the fingertip? They don't know. So without RA, pluripotent cells build in multiple directions at once, and if they didn't cause various tumor formations, they'd probably team up to create something like this. Simply giving retinoic acid directly to the normal, non-regenerative mice improved their ability to regrow ear tissue, and then blocking RA in regenerating species hampered their ability to regenerate. So because there are so many downstream regenerative effects that result from retinoic acid, and ALDH1A2 triggers RA production, that is why this one gene was considered the master switch. Now, researchers also noticed that after injury, control of the ALDH1A2 gene is governed by enhancers. Now, these are regulatory DNA elements that boost transcription. Rabbits have functional enhancers to turn on ALDH1A2, and the test mice had similar versions in their DNA, but their enhancers were non-functional. In other words, researchers couldn't be sure the non-regenerative mice had a working ALDH1A2 gene, but they knew the mechanism that should turn the gene on was broken. So the question became, can we turn on the gene, or is it really broken? Sure enough, when researchers created transgenic mice and spliced in the governing enhancers from a rabbit, the mouse's ALDH1A2 gene kicked on, the mouse naturally started producing retinoic acid, and the mouse's regenerative wound healing ability was completely restored. End result, researchers successfully demonstrated a proof of concept that mammals can be coaxed into a regenerative state. So what's the problem? Why don't we just do what it turns out Neil deGrasse Tyson was technically correct about, smarty pants mother, sorry, and slice in some of those rabbit enhancers to trigger our human healing gene? Here's the catch. Think of your cells like workers in a factory. When you're an embryo, all the workers are trainees. They can be assigned to any job. Those are like the pluripotent stem cells. But once you grow up, each worker is sort of locked into their job. One's a plumber, one's an electrician, one's an accountant. In adults, cells are specialists, and specialists don't switch careers. Now, for something like limb regeneration, you need a big pool of flexible trainee workers. You need cells that can rebuild bone and skin and blood vessels and nerves on demand. And biologically, adult humans don't naturally keep those kinds of flexible cells around. Now, our cells can repair a crack in a wall or a patch of leak. That's wound healing. But they don't have the capacity to, tear down and rebuild an entire wing of the factory. Our cells can't just, abandon their functions and team up to become a new leg. That's the big biological hurdle. But there is good news, and here's where science might change the rules. Imagine if we could import fresh trainee workers from the outside of the factory, like lab-engineered stem cells. So we don't need to use our own, we bring them in. We import them from the outside. Let's not get political. Suddenly, you got a pool of flexible recruits who can learn any job. At the same time, imagine giving the existing workers brand new blueprints and instructions through DNA-driven signals. With the right guidance, even the old specialists might temporarily help rebuild the wing of the factory. Now, put those two strategies together, stem cell injections along with genetic enhancements, and you might not get a perfect brand new limb, but you could absolutely restore major sections of the factory. That's the real hope for the future of regenerative medicine. Not waiting for our bodies to do the impossible on their own, but, giving them the backup staff and better instructions to do what they could never do naturally. Let's recognize that being in a regenerative state is a different standard than, the ability to regenerate tissues and organs whenever necessary. So maybe we need to redefine the goal of what we really want.
One of the oldest questions in biology dates back to 1864, and that is, as humans, can we regenerate our limbs?
It would be great to be able to regrow a hand. But it's like, do you really need to regrow a hand if you can get one of those Luke Skywalker hand replacements? And if you can get that quicker for less money? Now, if you want to live longer, unlocking a dormant gene to improve healing is also wildly amazing. Even if it isn't full-on limb regeneration, it can be a fantastic supplement for our health and longevity. It isn't, all or nothing. This mouse study was only about repairing ears, and that might not be as exciting as the healing powers of, comic book superheroes. But restorative therapies that combine stem cells with epigenetic reprogramming and some retinoic acid could maintain organ function for decades beyond what we can currently imagine, even if we aren't regenerating fresh organs. Chronic kidney disease causes loss of function over decades. But if scientists can activate retinoic acid pathways in kidney tissue and provide stem progenitor cell guidance, damaged tissues could be replaced, restoring filtration without transplant. Instead of waiting for organ failure, we could, renew the kidney, extending both lifespan and health span. Plenty of age-related diseases are from the slow accumulation of damage and the inability to fully repair. Heart attacks cause permanent scar tissue, which limits pumping capacity. Retinoic acid might help reprogram heart fibroblasts, and stem cell injections could form new functional heart muscle. Blood vessels and nerve connections could also be restored, leading to full recovery of cardiac function. Aging heart tissue could be regrown, preventing heart failure rather than just, managing symptoms with drugs or devices. Any regenerative functions to help us avoid or eliminate scar tissue and beat back fibrosis would be an insane achievement. And just knowing that our DNA has dormant abilities that science has the potential to unlock, that provides a whole new science fiction future of possibilities. Think about this. You share the same genome as, let's say, a sea otter. So according to Neil deGrasse Tyson, we should be able to nip-tuck some other enhancers into your DNA so you can double your lung capacity. Someone asked Neil if that's going to work. All right, I think that does it for this episode. I know this video didn't regenerate you, but I hope it reinvigorated you. Now, what kind of secret abilities do you think we're hiding in our DNA? And out of curiosity, do you think painfully regrowing an expensive hand for 2 years is better than let's say a perfect robotic replacement hand in 5 days? What's your threshold on biological versus bionic limbs? Leave us a comment below. Be sure to subscribe. And if you know anyone who might be curious about the science behind living forever, please share our channel with them. I'm Emmett Short. This is Longevity Science News. See you next time.